Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to SmokingGunJerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in. Harrison Runs on the ones and twos. As always, this is Ticket Weeknights. I do got Tristan Gomes joining me to my left, another one of the ticket producers here at 93.7 The Ticket. You guys are always welcome to join in. 402-464-5685. You can put a face to the voice. Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. Huskers are 1-0. My Bears are about to start their 1-0 journey in about 10 minutes here, or at least I think so. Tristan, how's it going on Monday?
Doing well. It was a fun weekend of football, college football, NFL. It's the best time of the year. Summer's nice. You get the nice weather and stuff, but it's nice when we, get into college football season, NFL season, and the weekends are just perfect.
Yeah, it's been gorgeous outside. Compare that to last time we faced Akron. It was what a turn of a difference. It was beautiful. It was even a little bit warmer than I was expecting in the right way. I wore a sweatshirt, got a little bit warmer than I anticipated. And I was telling that to DP on Sunday, as well as just about everyone that went through. Like, I was just giddy.
Yeah.
It's one thing, this job isn't that hard to get into work for. The other part is like, it's fall. So I was just like brim to brim, just grinning all through that Sunday, knowing that there's plenty of NFL, knowing that by the time I get off my shift, I'll get to watch more NFL. This morning, I got to go back, rewatch all the games I missed during the morning. And I think there was like 8 games on at once.
Yeah.
So it's not like if I was free, I was going to be able to watch all 8.
Exactly. Yeah. Red Zone was crazy yesterday, and it was just back and forth. But it was a good day.
Which, by the way, do you have Red Zone?
I do. Yeah.
Wasn't that bad commercial wise?
No. Yeah. I was so worried it was going to be like nothing. Like it would just be commercial after commercial after commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was, watching, and I was like, we haven't really had a commercial. I think they'd maybe show up when, every team was at halftime. But other than that, no, it was totally fine.
Yeah, I think it was a minute, just over. It was hardly anything. And
I was worried we were going to be in the witching hour, and then next thing you know, it's just Burger King ad, and I'm like, what is going on? But no, it wasn't bad at all.
No, it was great. I even had some friends who, if we get more commercials, that's due to some of my friends' fault. There was like one Wingstop ad, and they're like, everybody else just order Wingstop after that. So, if you want less ads, you can't always
buy into the ads.
Yeah, so they bought into it. Wolves inviting the sheep in, or sheep inviting the wolves in that they dislike so much. But nonetheless, we're not going to start NFL. Let's start college football. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about the Huskers yet. 68-0 win over Akron. Hard pressed to think of a time where we beat a team that badly. Obviously, we beat UTEP pretty good last year. We beat Northwestern, but nothing to the measure of a 68-0. Biggest things that stuck out to you from that second game for Nebraska football to go 2-0.
Yeah, I remember actually last week I talked to you, and I was like, I'm not sure if Nebraska can score that much, just because of the offense week 1 against Cincinnati, and it was a little slow, a little methodical, and then against Akron, it was just totally different. It seemed like Holgerson had that offense just ready to go. They step out there. Raiola looked really good and got it to his weapons. And then the run game was set. And that just showed, I think that was what Nebraska has been looking for when it's a game that, isn't just one-sided, or it's not, all right, we're just got to air it out now, or we got to hope that Emma can get us some yards. It is Akron, but it was nice to see that the offense was just flowing on all cylinders in the run game, in the pass game. and Akron just had no way to stop it, no clue how to stop it. So I think just seeing the offense just roll and kind of just score quick, I think that was fun to see and what really stuck out.
Yeah, and even despite the first quarter,
Mhm.
I mean, realistically, I think what was it? I think it was like 12-0, but it should have been 21-0. I mean,
Yeah.
2 of those touchdowns early,
The goal line, yeah.
goal line where you try to sneak in with Harburg, which, that's tough one. I like, at least they're going under center. I hate it when it's like a shotgun
Yeah.
QB sneak. That never makes sense. Harburg doesn't quite get there though. And then of course the series prior, I think it was an Emmett Johnson fumble right about that 1 yard line, but they didn't let that stop them. The thing that gives me the most hope, at least as of right now, the guys are responding well when things don't go their way. We saw it this week with Emmett Johnson after the fumble. He turns around, has a big breakout series. The next one, even last week, you saw some moments where the guys battled back. Hartzog gets the penalty. He ends up with the pick six. And even Ives and Mosey, last week, maybe heard a lot of negative things, not from Nebraska, but maybe from outside sources. And then you saw this week, both those guys, even though Ives a little bit of a slow start, they just got some reps in, started to feel themselves, and then you just saw really great results. And we can say over and over again that it is Akron. This is how you should beat those teams.
Yep.
But it's a sign that we didn't walk into it like we normally do. Normally, we kind of walk into those games that aren't Power 4. The guys didn't walk in. They despite the first 2 drives not ending in touchdowns, those drives, it wasn't a lack of effort. I mean, it was just really good plays by Akron on defense, and then a failure to punch into the end zone. But I never doubted the effort. They were never, I felt like, overlooking Akron. They felt like they should dominate Akron, but at the same time, they didn't just walk into it like they were gonna dominate Akron, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, because I think in years past, maybe Nebraska has had an opponent that isn't to their caliber and they play down to them. Maybe that's because we're worried about the next week, or we're, thinking, we're too good for this team. This is going to be an easy cakewalk. But it was nice to see that Nebraska just showed up and took care of business. It was slow in the first quarter, but then after that, it was all Huskers. And so I think that was very nice to see it as a fan, just recognizing that this coaching staff isn't going to let, a game slip under their belt, or they're not going to have a high standard no matter how we play. And especially going into this weekend, this is another weekend where you have the opportunity to do so. And just beat down a team, but also, see where your strengths are, build those strengths a little bit, see where you maybe have some weaknesses going into conference play. And so this is a week that they can't take lightly, especially with a huge following weekend the week after.
Yeah, another thing that stuck out in this game, yak yards. Guys weren't falling, hitting the ground, and again, team, you should be able to make some of those guys miss, but just about everyone, really good second efforts in order to get some more yards. And that was kind of the biggest thing with explosive plays. Last week, I know that was a big complaint for people. Is like, we offensively, we just didn't see a lot of explosiveness. This week, we actually saw quite a few of the same throws, like maybe 10, 15 yards. The difference was, though, you break a tackle, you got 20 more yards right there. And there's your explosive play, as well as he did throw. I think he had multiple passes that were longer than anything he threw against Cincinnati. And part of that due to what Cincinnati was playing on defense. Any doubts that Nebraska can be an explosive offense?
I don't think I have any doubts. I think we're going to have to wait until they see, a Big Ten opponent and just see how they play them.
Yeah, we'll get Michigan pretty soon.
Yeah, Michigan pretty soon, coming off a tough loss at Oklahoma. But I'm just curious, what does Michigan do? Are they going to, stuff the box, try to stop Emmett? Or is that an opportunity where, Nebraska can maybe get a few big chunk plays? So I think in those big games, that's what Nebraska has maybe missed out on a little bit is, if they have a big play, get some momentum, other than, maybe having a 13, 8-minute play drive, you want to make sure that, Nebraska does have the, possibility to kind of go over the top, or even just get a 20-yard play. Because it seemed like, Hunter, Key, those were 2 guys that I would notice. And I was like, these guys can catch the ball downfield and get open.
They're winning a lot of those matchups. Like we're seeing it multiple times where those guys, and shout out to Dylan Raiola for having just some really great throws, especially in the second half. But in the first half, even putting Luke Lindenmeyer in the mix, 3 one-handed snags. Emmett Johnson got one as well. Like it was, the quarterback's going to be as good as his receivers allow him to be. And I think last year, not to bag on Nayor or Banks, but Raiola as well, he was still kind of figuring out the offense. The passes were maybe a little bit more hesitant. Dylan Raiola a lot more comfortable, feels like trusting his receivers. So that's why no offense to Banks, Nayor, I just don't know how many opportunities they were given for a lot of those 50. Down the field, sure, we were throwing a lot of those, getting penalties on him. But this couple games in right now, it seems like Dylan Raiola has got a lot of trust in his wide receivers. Because who was it? Was it Key or Hunter at the corner of the end zone, where Dylan was like a bootleg right.
I think that was, oh gosh, I want to say key, but don't quote me on that.
But either way, I mean,
There was a lot of touchdowns. I'm like trying to picture all of them.
Touchdowns. But just phenomenal. Where are you at with the wide receiver core?
I'm super high on them. And I think, like you said, nothing against Banks or Nair last year, but this just seems like Dylan has a different kind of connection with his receivers this year. That first half, it was just Hunter. And then we see Dan Key get into the mix. And then even Lindenmeyer, I think he's really established himself as that tight end one.
He's been phenomenal with his hands. It surprised me how big of stride. Maybe I shouldn't say that because last year, towards the end, I felt like he saw that. But yeah, sorry to cut you off. But the strides he's been making, super pleasantly surprised by Lindenmeyer taking that tight end one spot pretty profoundly.
Yeah. And then I think we're, so high on Hunter and Key, but I mean, Ja'Cory Barney has still been balling out. Like It seems like every time he gets the ball in his hands, he's making plays, and it's fun to see him on punt return. It seems like he's upset every time he doesn't return it for a touchdown. But no, I mean, I think we have three great weapons, especially when you compare it to some other Big Ten teams. It's just about them getting open. And if Holgerson can continue to kind of scheme up these game plans where, he has the zone beaters, he has the man beaters, then all three of these receivers are going to have great years.
Yeah. And next step, I think, for Dylan Raiola is he's picking apart those zones, just keep really dialing it in on man. Akron tried to run some man, and Dylan Raiola did a good job just dialing in on it. I think, most teams understand that's where Dylan Raiola is less comfortable. I wouldn't necessarily call it a weakness because he looks pretty good. But his completion percentage still stays really good. I think he's over 600 yards passing as well, just over. And, as far as Big Ten quarterbacks go, I think he's third in total passing yards, which is phenomenal. I mean, that's the next step. You want a guy like Dylan Raiola in year two, who's no longer a true freshman. Like, if you're that 5-star athlete, those throws should be possible. And right now he's putting it on tape, and they'll get another tune-up game as long as they don't walk into it versus Houston Christian. And then they will get Michigan. Special teams. Not worried. First time in a long time, have not been worried about him at all. And to your point, someone's itching to bring one to the house.
Yeah. I mean, Ja'Cory Barney back there is just, every time he gets the ball, it almost reminds me of DeMornay when he was here. And just watching him, every time you see that he's not fair catching it, it's like, all right, let's make something happen. And I think that's just something that Eckler kind of preached. He's been on some big programs, and he said, it's an opportunity for someone to return one to the house, even just give us better field position, and just the guys blocking as well. I think they take more pride. I mean, didn't see a whole bunch of punting on, our side of the ball.
Archie didn't touch the field once.
He didn't touch the field, yeah. So he didn't touch the field once, which, I mean, you love to see. But it just seems the Eckler has that special teams group, just unit, just flowing. Like, we're not going to be the reason that we lose games, but we're even going to be to be a unit that wins us games.
And, they did save a shutout. They had that field goal that they blocked. We'll take the doinker on the other one. At that point, I'm not gonna lie, I did feel for Akron a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a long time
this
ago.
Is not going well. Yeah.
Without scoring, and then you're in this environment. The crowd was rowdy, but no, the special teams have been stepping up, and it's been on punt return, it's been kick return, it's been kickoff, it's been punt. It's pretty much all phases of special teams have been really good. I haven't been tested too much in that game. Cincinnati, they didn't really try any tricks up their sleeve. Eventually, someone down the line we'll see how disciplined they are. But right now, as far as like the basic execution, the guys seem to be doing a phenomenal job. And Mike Eckler, I think, deserves a ton of credit for that. Hopefully, we don't have to see Archie Wilson for a while. Like, it's one of those things. Enjoy the ride, man. If you don't have to punt, hopefully you don't need to. Anything else in that game that really stuck out to you? I mean, there's a million things to go. We haven't even talked about Latif yet and what he did.
No, yeah, Latif looked amazing and just super comfortable. I think that's what surprised me the most, because I know we talked earlier about him, being the backup. And I was like, oh gosh, like, being a freshman quarterback, especially coming in later in games, and having your first action in college football, it's got to be a little nerve-wracking. And then he went out there, and him and just Mosey in the backfield, they two young guys, and they just seemed like they were like, yeah, we've done this before. We've done this a million times. And so that was great to see. And I mean, not that we need to be thinking about the future right now. We have the whole season ahead of us, and we have Dylan and all these weapons. But, seeing these young guys in the backfield and Latif, airing it out a little bit, it was good to see. And you think, all right, this recruiting staff and just, what Matt Rule is doing to get guys into the door, it seems like this is, Nebraska is on just an uphill trend, which is awesome.
Yeah, you like the recruits that you're seeing, or at least that next level of depth. And again, that's why I think Nelson and Mosey in particular, it was nice to see those guys bounce back after what felt like, I don't even want to say a rough week, but just a very limited amount of reps. And the few reps that they did get, I think, just a few yards at most. I want to say Mosey even made it finish with negative yards. But nonetheless, that was a good opportunity for those guys to get a ton of reps, and they did a lot with it to the point so where TJ Lateef right now doing more damage than Gronowski in one quarter than 2 games, which brings me to Iowa and Iowa State. I don't know if you did a pick for this game or not, but I actually picked the Cyclones to go ahead and take care of business. It's always close. I wouldn't have been shocked if I was wrong. I wouldn't have been shocked if I was right. But last year, Cyclones won it. I liked Becht a lot. I liked him more than what I saw to Gronowski. And the Cyclones, all they had to do in that game and what they've had to do every year for that rivalry, can you find a couple of explosive plays? Like a couple to put you up by a score or get you close at the very end there. And they do just that towards the end. I think they gave Iowa the ball with about 1:45 left. They make that field goal. Gronowski, last play, not great when you throw it out of bounds. You don't really give your guys a chance. Where are we at with the Iowa Hawkeyes? Because it's getting tumultuous. The fan base is starting to call for the firing of Ferentz or looking forward to it. And it is a little bit of that Bo Pelini territory where it's like, do you know how good you have it?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to, we can talk about the game, but when it comes to Kirk Ferentz, it's the same thing where it's, do you get rid of him and then hope you can bring in someone better? But I also think, he probably is getting near retirement. I wouldn't be surprised if it's almost like a forceful retirement if this year doesn't go how Iowa really wants it. Because, I mean, yeah, it's Bo Pelini, esque, with the 9 wins every year, but that's about it. And maybe a bowl win. But when you haven't seen Iowa's offense really do much for years and years, it's got to be upsetting as a fan. And even as a booster, you're like, all right, what's going on? Can we get some offense going? I mean, like I've said before, I have Iowa State as my Big 12 champion in just a wide open conference. So I was confident in Rocco Beck and just what he's done for the Cyclones so far. Not surprised by the outcome, though. I mean, it seems like it was a typical Iowa team that, they tried to keep it as close as they can, hope that their offense can just score enough because their defense is going to keep them in there. But I just don't think that's going to be sustainable for the Hawkeyes much. And we got a while till we end up in that matchup. But if you just, compare the teams right now, it seems like, Nebraska is on the better end of it.
It is a little bit shocking that Iowa just hasn't had a QB.
It's
it's not like that school doesn't have money. And I don't know if it's like the school and just like the way that entire offense is designed where it makes it brutal for a quarterback to really thrive there. But then again, you look at some of the throws versus Iowa State, and it's like, man, year over year, how come you guys keep missing on this position?
Yeah. I mean, Gronowski at South Dakota State was, he might have been an All-American.
Yeah,
2-time
he was
All-American.
polished. He looked like a guy that
really
could deliver.
good. So I'm curious if it's just the development. And then also maybe I was just not instilling confidence into their quarterbacks. I can't remember the last Iowa quarterback that, really worried me.
Deacon Hill.
I said worried me. And, no, but I mean, in all honesty, it just hasn't seemed like they've had a guy. And I'm like, is that because of the recruiting, or does that have to fall on the coaches? Because I mean, when you have guys that, have proven themselves elsewhere, I know it's the FCS level, but he's proven himself. And they're just not successful whatsoever. You have to, fall back a little bit and say, all right, what is this coaching staff really up to?
Yeah. Defense and special teams. It just feels like offense takes a page on the back.
They don't practice. They just say, all right, let's have the best defense and let's have great special teams, and then we'll head home. Like, I mean, that's almost what it looks like.
Need a new OC. Need just to fix that entire offensive room. And I was just like throwing Deacon Hill out there because he was the Ben Roethlisberger of college football. I mean, he looked just like, especially with the colorways that Iowa has. But Deacon Hill is just like the kind of guy, like the epitome of, unfortunately, Hawkeye quarterbacks, where guys that aren't highly touted that get the spot or are highly touted in the offseason. I know a lot of people were retweeting like the Barstool Iowa's, we got ourselves a quarterback on like the 5-yard out throw. And it's not like I'm just actually rooting against all these quarterbacks, but it does blow my mind that a program as good as Iowa just constantly fails in that department, knowing how much it frustrates everyone, all the boosters, I'm sure, all the fans. But like you said, you get rid of Ferentz, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Because that's a tough culture to sell to begin with. And if you're going to rip out what the culture is, because then you really maybe fall into that Nebraska after Osborne territory where you just don't even know who you are anymore. And it's, Is Iowa a beautiful location that all the best athletes are coming to? Not any more than what Lincoln is.
Mhm.
So without Ferentz, I feel even worse for that program, which kind of says a lot, despite, us talking very negatively about what that offense has been over the years. What is your optimism if Iowa were to fire Ferentz, that they'd be able to turn it around, not in 20 years, but like at least 5?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what turning around really is. I mean,
Back
'cause
to
what
9 wins. Like,
I
can they
know,
get to
back to
9?
9
I should
wins.
say not turn around, but can they maintain
maintain that 9,
Yeah.
maybe get to 10. I mean, I think so. It just depends on who they hire. Because I remember we were talking earlier about Belemi, or what is it?
Belima?
Belima, yes, from Illinois. He was a guy that they were talking about. Oh, he can maybe end up in Iowa.
Bielema. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah,
Bielema, yeah. And so that was a guy who I was like, yeah, he's seems to really build a culture. I'm not sure if he's going to be leaving Illinois anytime soon. But I think it just depends on who they bring in, because Ferentz has he's been Iowa football. When you think of just so many years past, decades past, you just think, all right, that's Kirk Ferentz, that's Iowa football. And so I'm curious if do they bring someone in that changes the whole identity, and how does that look? I think as Nebraska fans, we saw that here, and it didn't play out well. I mean, even with Bo Pelini, we bring in Mike Riley, seemed like totally opposite coaching styles, and it didn't work out for us. And so you worry anytime you have to get rid of a coach, but you also have to understand, all right, what's the ceiling at this point?
And how many years has Ferentz been coaching? Like, if you don't know what the ceiling is now,
yeah,
I mean,
know what you're going to get. You know
outliers.
exactly what you're going to get. Is it going to win you a Big Ten championship? I don't think so.
No, and like that's always kind of been the problem, is eventually Iowa will run into a team whose defense is just as good as theirs
with an offense.
Yeah. Or an offense that's that good, like an Ohio State, that when they constantly met up in the Big Ten championship, or if it was Michigan or whoever it was, when we still had the East and West, it was like, yeah, but you're going to find a team whose defense is just as good and their offense is good enough to get through some of these defenses. And then you just get into blowouts where it's, 70-31 Ohio State, 14, on a good day for Iowa, and 23 Michigan. So that's kind of always been the problem for Iowa. I think what the ceiling is, but I'm super intrigued just to see what direction they go, and if they kind of force his hand out. Because if I'm Iowa, I'm going to just let him take his time. I'll be honest. Unless it gets atrocious, I'm going to be kind of like just keeping my eyes and ears open and talk to him, and just because otherwise just ripping that Band-Aid off, I think that culture is still really valuable. I wouldn't want to rip it all apart, just maybe tweak it a little bit for the next guy. With that being said, though, we are already up to our first break. I do want to do a rest of the Big Ten update in college football, because I think we had Ohio State shutout, Minnesota shutout, Nebraska shutout, Oregon shutout, Penn State shutout. I mean, it was a thrashing by the Big Ten this weekend. And I know it wasn't against conference opponents, but we'll talk about just how impressive some of these scores are. So don't go anywhere. Tristan Gomes, Harrison Arts. We're going to talk some more college football on the other side. Then we'll get to some NFL. Don't go anywhere.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. With the school year here, A1 Automotive reminds you that college students get 10% off any service, and they offer free tire repair with a valid college ID. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive or downtown at 11th and L.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's schweisow.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs have been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrolloffs.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Roll-Offs, cleanup made simple.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Breaking here at the news desk. When you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, you can lock in your price for 2 years. Sources are confirming that when you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, your monthly price drops and you're locked in for 2 years. That's fiber fast internet, premium streaming TV, and reliable nationwide mobile coverage. And this just in, you must switch by Labor Day to secure that locked-in pricing for 2 years. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
Bring new life to metal treasures with Kaiser Blasting and Coatings. From railings and fences to outdoor furniture and unique antiques, their expert team removes years of rust and weathering, then finishes each piece with a lasting powder coat. Trusted by industries across the region, now local homeowners and businesses can experience the same professional care. Visit KaiserBlasting.com or call 402-421-3559 to request your quote. Restore, protect, and make your metal shine like never before with the help of Kaiser Blasting and Coatings.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison runs the ones and twos. We got Tristan Gomes to my left, and we're going to talk college football. Before we get there, though, since it is already 7-0, the Chicago Bears, I had a brain fart. I was thinking 7:15, then I forgot, then I was thinking 7:30. 7:15 start. As a result, Bears up 7-0 over the Minnesota Vikings. Great start for Caleb Williams. He's 6 for 6, 51 yards, and a rushing touchdown as well. Ran in for 9 yards. And we were talking some fantasy football about the value of Rome Odunze, and he's got 1 reception, 17 yards already. Your thoughts on this game? Bears, Vikings, this game, and then season outlook for both of them.
Yeah. I mean, I told you earlier as a Packers fan, watching the Packers play the Lions and just how maybe lousy the Lions offense looked without Ben Johnson made me think, all right, this Bears offense is probably going to be pretty legit.
Mm-hmm.
And after watching that Packers game, Packers looked real good.
They did.
But
Parsons looked awesome.
If this is how the pace continues for the Chicago Bears and Ben Johnson's offense, I think it's going to come down to the Bears and Packers. I think the Lions will figure it out. And then when it comes to the Vikings, I think they have the weapons. They have a pretty solid defense. It just comes down to what J.J. McCarthy is going to be. It might have some growing pains, but towards the end of the year, who's J.J. McCarthy going to be, and can he lead them to a few victories?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think for the Vikings, it's in that O'Connell system. He's usually pretty great, and how he gets his quarterback situated. McCarthy, he's gonna have to fill the shoes that Daniel did for Cousins, and then he's gonna have to do it for Darnold. So I'm never down on the Vikings simply because they really are never bad. I mean, regardless of the situation that happens, they always come in there. If they have injuries, they figure out a way to get it done. They still got Justin Jefferson, who I think in my mind is probably 1 or 2 receivers still. I'm really pressed to put him any more lower than that. So I think the Vikings will be all right. It's just a matter of how good are the Bears and then how good are the Packers. Like, how fun would the NFC North be if the Packers and the Bears are the best teams? Is there a better rivalry in football? Maybe Ravens, Steelers?
Maybe, but I think just the history behind the Bears Packers, like nothing runs that deep. There's really nothing like it. And I think the hatred behind it is like no other.
I think it'd just be great. I mean, last time we had that was the Cutler Rodgers era, and Cutler got hurt. What was his name? It was like Heine or something. I'm blanking on what it was right now. I'm pretty close. Start with an H, but they put the backup in. Obviously, Bears didn't do much after that. The game slipped away. Packers got it, but it's been a long time. It'd be awesome to see the NFC North dominated by those two. I just think anytime you get a great rivalry, and obviously I'm being biased, you're probably being a little bit biased as well, but Packers Bears, I think it's safe to say, if not the best, certainly one of the best rivalries in all of the NFL. And the Packers looked awesome. Just to give you your shine, Micah Parsons. I know he was just situationally used, but he had an effect. And even if it was, not a ton of tackles for loss, or he didn't light it up on the stat sheet, and even, just again, the pressure he puts on and the amount of help that he requires. How good was Parsons for you? Game 1.
He was awesome. And I mean, like you said, he may not have had all the sacks, may not have had all the tackle for losses, but you could tell right away, like, this guy makes an impact that is so noticeable. There was one great video of one of his sacks on Jared Goff, and you were like, this looks like a lion chasing a baby gazelle. And you just know it's inevitably over for the gazelle, because Parsons was flying and Jared Goff had nowhere to go. And that was just so fun to watch. And post game, Micah Parsons talking about how he's not a guy that should be getting traded a week before the season, which is so true. You don't have, a top 3, at least, defensive player in the league getting traded. And so I kind of just liked that, and made Jerry Jones look a little silly, and the Packers just absolutely dominated.
Yeah, and he's going to be good. It was funny because you watch that game and you see the difference that Parsons made, and then you look at the Cowboys-Eagles game.
They were a defensive end away from winning the ball game. Yeah.
Elite level defensive end away from winning the ball game.
Yeah.
On top of CeeDee Lamb, not dropping back to back. Beautiful dimes. Most bad I felt for Dak in a while. Like, honestly, what more could you ask of him? He was phenomenal at the end there. Clutch throws was great. And then, of course, like, we know the story, he didn't catch it. But even then, on the defensive end, like, if you have Parsons, you probably win. Maybe, I shouldn't say probably, but a much better chance at the very least of winning that game.
You have a game wrecker in there, a guy that's going to, make a play, get a sack. I mean, Jalen Hurts was running around as easy as it could have been for him in that first half. And I think they finally, put a spot on him so he couldn't just do whatever he wanted. But it was so tough to watch, and just, I mean, not for me, but as a Cowboys fan, I can't imagine how frustrating that had to have been. I'm just thinking, like, we had a game wrecker, a guy that could change a game like this, and we gave him away, and now that team looks extraordinary.
Yeah, it's been week 1 has been fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was probably one of the best opening weeks of the NFL we've had. And since we're on the NFL and we only got about 5 minutes left, we'll get to college football in segment 3. And then tomorrow, if Tristan hops on air again, although I think we have a full schedule, we'll talk a lot more NFL. But about 5-6 minutes left. NFL games. Just pick one that stuck out to you. We'll dive into it.
Oh gosh. I mean, you easily could have just said, we could easily just talk about that Sunday night game. But I think I'm going to have to go with here. Oh, it's easy. The Steelers Jets. That game was
2 quarterbacks I was not in on.
No, 2 quarterbacks I like Justin Fields, and I think he's a good quarterback. What we saw yesterday, I was extremely impressed with. And then, as a Packers fan, it was kind of cool to see Aaron Rodgers like almost just say like double bird to the Jets because they wrote me out and I just put up 4 touchdowns against you and won that ball game in MetLife. So that was just a fun game from 2 quarterbacks that almost got written off, and now they're both like, no, we're back. And if you're a Jets fan, I'd be, defense wasn't extraordinary, but what I saw from Justin Fields, I was like, wow, this guy's a starting quarterback in this league.
I'm a little worried about Wilson on the hit he took.
Yeah.
My Lord. That was just a really great game from both sides of the ball. And to your point, like, man, I like Justin Fields. I don't know about Rodgers. We'll see. Maybe warming up to me, but I wanted Fields to succeed. I wasn't necessarily expecting it. You were seeing some of the, and again, it's off season. It's very hard to tell what's real or not. They're going to send the clips of him missing throws to make you get a bad idea of him. But, some of the stuff, even preseason, I was like inaccurate, still kind of seeing some of the stuff I saw with the Bears. And I thought the reason why it didn't work with the Bears is like, they just didn't really set him up for success. I was kind of worried, like, man, the Jets, maybe they're trying to set him up for success, but it really is just an accuracy issue, which is tough to fix, especially when you get to the NFL. But no, he was firing on all cylinders. And then Rodgers as well. Some of that vintage Rodgers off the back foot, like I'm surprised that he looked that good and that healthy. This year, Rodgers, can he kind of keep up this just elite level? Like, is this if he keeps playing like this, I mean, that's MVP caliber almost, the way he was dominating that game.
Yeah, I mean, he was airing it out like no other, and it seemed like he was really spreading around. I expected DK to have maybe a little bit better of a game, had a solid game, but he was finding all of his weapons, finding some of his running backs with Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell out of the backfield, and so he just looked comfortable. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers, he's been playing for years, but he looked so comfortable. And then, I thought that it is week 1, but the Steelers defense, I kind of expected a little bit more out of, which I still think they're probably a top 5, top 10 defense in this league. And Justin Fields kind of put it to him and was slinging the rock a little bit. And then when he got out of the pocket, obviously we know what he can do with his legs. So Justin Fields, I'm pretty high on. Not that the Jets are really going to be extraordinary by any means, but it was cool to see Justin Fields have a little bit of success and show that he has the confidence to go out there and put his team in positions where they can win.
And if he can keep developing, my Lord, here comes the dual threat NFL QBs. That used to be a rarity. Let's put him in the hierarchy. A1,
Lamar, easy. Yeah. I
mean, no questions.
And then, I think A1, or
we can just go 1, 2. I don't know why I threw A in there. It's not like we're
I mean,
another
character.
character.
1, 2. It's Lamar and Josh Allen. Either way, you can't. Yeah.
3. Jaden Fields.
I think you have to go with Jaden Daniels.
Especially after, once again, what he did this week. The Commanders, they look good. Trying to think, is there any other real dual threats right now? Caleb Williams, but I wouldn't put him in the category of any of those guys.
He just got a rushing TD, though, so we can now.
We'll slide him out there. Outside of the top 5 for right now, which, by the way, still perfect. 7 for 7 right now.
Yeah.
Great.
Kyler Murray, I'm not super.
I didn't even. He was like one that came to my head, and I didn't.
I don't think he's 4. I mean, Justin Fields is up there, and the way he slung the rock yesterday, I was like, wow, he can air it out. We kind of saw this at Ohio State a little bit. Yeah, when it comes to like guys you're really worried about getting out of the pocket, I mean, I would probably put Jalen Hurts ahead of Justin Fields for right now.
Can't leave him out of there. Otherwise, Justin Herbert's got a little bit of wheels to him, but he's not looking for it the same way the other guys are.
Yeah. Because I think Fields is a guy where he, I think we have some quarterbacks that maybe they're in the pocket, 3 seconds go by and their thought isn't to, all right, let's run the ball. I think Justin Fields is one of those guys where it's like, all right, let's do this with my legs instead.
Well, and I think the difference why, you get those versions of like, if you do get a guy like Justin Herbert, like I can get 10, 15 yards here. I see a lot of green. You get to those upper tier athletes, it's like, I can get 50.
Yeah.
Like there's so much green room. Like I almost know I can make 1 guy, 2 guys miss. And you see Jaden Daniels do it all the time, taking ankles. You even saw TJ Lateef a little bit show his athleticism. And when you get that type of athlete at that QB position, like the green space isn't, let me take what's there and slide. It's, you got somebody who can run and break a tackle just on pure shiftiness. And they're good enough not to be too worried about taking a massive hit. Whereas if you get Patrick Mahomes and he's got, an elite safety coming downhill, Mahomes, we know, is probably not going to break that tackle or shake him off. You get a guy like Lamar, you get a guy even like Josh. If that's a small safety, you like Josh. If it's a, really anybody, you like Lamar on a one-on-one just because of how much of a freak athlete is. But it does feel like in 2025, like we keep seeing this more and more, that the dual threat quarterbacks in the NFL are going to kind of start taking over.
Yeah.
Because you just see how dangerous it is. And the last 2 MVPs were dual threat QBs. And although Josh Allen's different than Lamar, you're not going to find quarterbacks that big, but he'll just straight up run you over. And he's got the frame to just be an absolute threat where you can't just let him go. Any other games? Real quick. We got about a minute left.
Any other games?
There wasn't much of a toilet bowl, actually. The Jaguars, Panthers.
That was a tough one to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But no, one thing I was a little surprised about was just the Giants.
Danny Dimes and the Dolphins versus the Dolphins.
Yes, Danny Dimes looked unbelievable. Russell Wilson, not so much. And so we can talk a little bit about both of them, but it just seemed like Russell Wilson was not comfortable whatsoever. He didn't have much time, and that offensive line was not helping him. But you could just tell how frustrated Malik Neighbors was getting and a few others. And then Danny Dimes, on the other hand, the Dolphins looked very sorry, but Danny Dimes looked like he was super comfortable back there and just drove down the field. It seemed like every possession, even had 2 rushing touchdowns on QB sneaks. And he just seemed super confident, and he seems like he's found his home in Indianapolis.
Yep. Sorry, Anthony Richardson. I was wrong. I thought, you should be the guy to start. I didn't have a lot of hope in Danny Dimes. Why should we start at Daniel Jones? But, we did kind of hint at this, I know, in previous shows, where the Colts are good enough. Mm-hmm. Where if they could figure out that quarterback, even if it's not the MVP or not even a top quarter, as long as he's average, the Colts should be pretty decent. And we saw that with the defense.
Yeah.
What I didn't expect was him to be better than just average. And he looked great. And, that offense ran up. I don't think anybody had the Colts scoring that many points on the bingo card. You thought it'd be more of we're going to run the ball with Taylor. We're going to play, kind of Titans-esque football that they did with Derrick Henry back in the day, where we know who we are. We're just a physical, gritty team. And they were kind of letting Daniel Jones loose, even when they're up by 14 points, still kind of throwing it down the field. Super impressed. Jonathan Taylor, he still looks awesome. And then, like I said, just wasn't expecting that out of Daniel Jones. But that does bring us to the Dolphins and what was a bad performance. And, I looked it up because I know we talked about that off the year. It is year 4 for Mike McDaniel, Dolphins head coach. Not great to have your team look that flat coming out of week 1 when you have been there for 4 years and you do got a guy like Tyreek Hill. Wherever you think of Tua, you have that familiarity there. You still have Waddle. Like, a lot of your big pieces are there. Defense is another question, but the offense just being as non-lethal as it was really shocking. Where are you at the Dolphins heading into the season, and where are you at now with them, and then in particular the head coach, McDaniel?
I don't think I was super high on the Dolphins to begin with, but when you think of a team that has a quarterback into a guy returning that has some experience, and then you have Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill at receiver, and then you have Devon Achane in the backfield, like, you have some skill players, you have some weapons, and they just looked like they maybe hadn't even played together. They didn't look comfortable with each other at all, and the offensive line wasn't given to the best pocket. But if you're Mike McDaniel, I think you really have to make some changes soon, because we see it in the NFL. If the season doesn't start off right and you haven't been where you want to be in previous years, like, they're going to look for the next guy. So not super high in the Dolphins right now. And I think there's going to be a lot that needs to change, mostly. I mean, I want to say mostly on the offensive side, but you also gave up 30 points. So it's got to change all around. And I think that falls on the head coach.
Yep, absolutely. And then we didn't even have time to talk about Bills-Ravens, which was by far the craziest game. And, as a Ravens fan, I just don't know how you pick yourself up. It felt like a little bit of revenge from the Bills. It's like, you guys have no idea how gut-wrenching these losses are.
Yeah.
We'll give you one early in the season. Imagine that stuff playoffs. But no, Bills, incredible. Josh Allen, incredible. Both teams looked really good outside of both teams' defenses.
Yeah.
It was just an offensive showcase. And then Ravens got caught a little bit trying to play too much prevent at the end there, and then Josh Allen started just dotting them in there, really playing well, throwing it to the sideline, saving clock, and it worked out to a 1-point victory. With that being said, over the clock here, we'll throw it to break. We'll wrap up with our final college football expose on the Big Ten. As I mentioned earlier, there are some Big Ten teams that went, that had some shutouts. I want to highlight those teams as well, so don't go anywhere. Take a Weeknights. Tristan Gomes, Harrison Arts.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Load it with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. With the school year here, A1 Automotive reminds you that college students get 10% off any service, and they offer free tire repair with a valid college ID. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive or downtown at 11th and L.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's schwisow.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Rollouts have been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Rollouts will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Rollouts make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrolloffs.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Rolloffs, cleanup made simple.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Breaking here at the news desk. When you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, you can lock in your price for 2 years. Sources are confirming that when you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, your monthly price drops and you're locked in for 2 years. That's fiber fast internet, premium streaming TV, and reliable nationwide mobile coverage. And this just in, you must switch by Labor Day to secure that locked-in pricing for 2 years. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
Bring new life to metal treasures with Kaiser Blasting and Coatings. From railings and fences to outdoor furniture and unique antiques, their expert team removes years of rust and weathering, then finishes each piece with a lasting powder coat. Trusted by industries across the region, now local homeowners and businesses can experience the same professional care. Visit KaiserBlasting.com or call 402-421-3559 to request your quote. Restore, protect, and make your metal shine like never before with the help of Kaiser Blasting and Coatings.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Tristan Gomes, Harrison Arns. Not a ton of time here left before we get to He's Back. Chris Raff, he's doing another show. He will officially be back along with the one and only DeMornay Piersnell. I know you shouted him out earlier when we were talking special teams. Also one of my favorites. I think our generation, like DeMornay Piersnell, not only elite wide receiver, when you get somebody at that, like special teams, who's a highlight waiting to go away or a highlight waiting to happen. He's just, I think, probably anyone who was born in the late 90s to early 2000s, like one of those guys they looked up to watching Husker football. So not only do you get Chris Raff, another former Husker football athlete, you get DeMornay Piersnell. Raff will go 8 to 9, DeMornay Piersnell 9 to 10. And then, of course, DP, you know him. He's not going anywhere. He's got more for you later tonight, along with myself. So this will be normal going forward. And then, of course, Fridays, we have high school football back. But for anyone who's tuning in, not aware of the ninth situation left, and I know we're still got NFL on the brick and mortar, which, by the way, Chicago Bears up 7, but Vikings scored 7-3. Vikings get a field goal in there. J.J. McCarthy still 1 for 2. Williams 9 for 9, 56 yards. And I said it earlier, the one touchdown being a rushing touchdown for Caleb Williams for about 19 yards. But off the score, that's going to be the regular occurrence. Monday through Thursday, it'll be 2 hours of some student athlete shows, local community shows, and then Chris Raff, DeMornay Piersnell, me and DP for a couple hours to wrap things up. Which Big Ten team do you want to talk about?
Let's start with UCLA. I'd like to just hear kind of the stats. If you could have
let me pull up
what
UCLA because, again, they took a tough loss. Now starting off the season 0-2. Well, I pull that up here. What's are you surprised by the slow start to UCLA, knowing that they did go ahead and get Nico Iamaleava and see these guys struggling as much as they are right now?
I don't think I'm surprised. I do think Nico is a good talent. I think he is a good quarterback. And if I'm being honest, I think he got some pretty bad advice from family members. You know, the grass isn't always greener, as you're seeing with UCLA as they're 0-2. But it's tough to show up in a new offense with, you know, just months, weeks before the season starts, and you're the guy. So, I mean, that's got to be tough for him. But I'm not surprised by, you know, this UCLA start. But it has to definitely be frustrating, and I can't imagine where it really goes from here.
Yeah, I mean, you think year one would be the tougher year, and it feels like right now the way year two is rolling out of the gates, again, 2 pretty tough losses. I don't think anyone had UNLV Rebels taking down the UCLA Bruins. But Nico Iamaleava, 29 for 41, 255 yards. I'm not sure how to say the UNLV quarterback's last name, Colindria, if I'm saying that correctly. Those would just call him Anthony, even though it's not always proper. 15 for 21, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Iamaleava did throw 1 pick and a touchdown to go along with it, but he did rush 1 in as well. 11 attempts on the ground for 59 yards. Team stats, though, and where this game kind of fell apart for UCLA. First downs, 3 for 13. They did go for it a lot on 4th down, more because they needed to. Actually, let me go back here. This can't be the right score. I thought UCLA lost. Am I mistaken?
Did they end up winning that one?
Okay, yeah, they lost. No,
Okay,
I don't know what was going on with ESPN there. It was telling me they won the game. Yeah, no, they definitely lost 23-30. But going back to the team scores here. So, yeah, 3 for 13 first downs, UCLA, and then UNLV was 5 for 10. 4th down, they had to go for a lot as a result of the score. 4 for 5, so they were good all right there. Total yards was actually all UCLA. 428 total yards compared to 351. They got more in the air. They got a little bit more on the ground as well, but it came down to turnovers. You fumbled 1 and you threw an interception. And that right there, team possession-wise, 31 minutes for UCLA and 28 minutes for UNLV. It just kind of felt like a weird game, you know, where like we can really get after UCLA. But that's just a close game like that. You have 2 turnovers. They have 0, and they find a way to punch it through. I don't think UNLV is that great of a team all at the same time. So although it did come down to what I feel like is turnovers, still a little bit surprised to see them struggling as much as they are. And I wonder if Eric Bieniemy moving from OC's hurt more than maybe some of the Bruins fans would have anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely could see that being a case. You have an offensive coordinator that is a legend.
I think Deshaun Foster is pretty early in his coaching career still, unless he had a bunch of other stops I'm not familiar with.
Yeah,
but
pretty early in his coaching career. And, just to touch on it real quick is just Nico had an opportunity to be in his second year as a starter in an SEC offense. I know people have, compared Tennessee to kind of like a high school offense, but it's still, you're upgrading each year that you're in an offense. You say, all right, we can open up the playbook a little bit more. I think we're seeing that with Dylan Raiola. And so it's all right, sure, that you may think the grass is greener, but there's a lot more you got to learn. There's new weapons you have to deal with. You're dealing with different coaching staff. Well, it seems like here at Nebraska, Dylan Raiola has, really stepped up his game because he's more comfortable and he's in an offense that he knows. So I think that's exciting for us Husker fans, tough for some Bruins fans, and hopefully when UCLA, we head out there this year, Nebraska, takes care of business and we see what Dylan Raiola really is capable of.
Gonna be a lot of Husker fans go to that one too. That venue, I think people are probably counting up their pennies, making sure that when that ticket sales drop, they'll be heading out there, and I'll be excited for it. Hopefully Huskers still have a really great record coming to that point, but I think you're absolutely right. Continuity, at least in my opinion, matters more than ever in the game of college football. Appreciate everybody listening. Don't go anywhere. Like I promised, Chris Raff coming up next.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskan